Day, Philippines. I am Angeline Bautista, your newscaster reporter for today, and I'm here to provide you the latest news update. So now, I will discuss the introduction of the risk management. Risk management is a critical process for any organization seeking to achieve its goals and navigate the inherent uncertainties of the business world. It involves a systematic approach to identifying, analyzing, and controlling potential risks that could negatively impact an organization, operation, financial stability, reputation, and overall success. This discussion explores the fundamental principle, processes, and key elements of risk management, providing a comprehensive. So risks are part na siya of every organization functioning. So if na ay new project mo abot with new risk, importante gid na nga ma-identify and ma-mitigate them para sa smooth operation sa business. Kaya ang risk management is super important for any company that wants to succeed because risk management is a proactive strategy to identify, analyze, and control potential risks that could impact a business or project. So it involves assessing threat, developing plans to mitigate them, and maintaining a level of acceptable risk. So risk management is like a safety plan for your business. Kaya it helps them to recognize prospective problem and determine their chance before taking action to prevent or minimize the damage. So this enables business to stay safe and achieve their goals. So the objective of risk management is identifying, measuring, monitoring, and controlling risks to protect the organization and its processes.
Good day everyone! Today we will discuss the basic principles of risk management, which are crucial for ensuring the safety and success of our projects and organizations. The first principle is create value. This means that everything we do in risk management should add value to our organization. It's not just about avoiding problems, but also about enhancing our operations. Second is address uncertainty and assumption. In any project, there are always things that are uncertain or assumed. It's important to recognize and address these to avoid potential issues in the future. Third is be an integral part of organization process and decision making. Risk management should not be a separate process. It needs to be part of the organization's daily operations and decision making to be more effective. Fourth is be dynamic, iterative, transparent, tailorable, and responsive to change. Our approach to risk management should always be ready to adapt to change. It needs to be flexible and open to adjustments depending on the situation. Fifth is create capability of continual improvement and enhancement. Risk management should not stop at one method. It needs to continuously improve based on the best available information and understanding of people and their behaviors. Lastly is be systematic, structured, and continually or periodically reassess. Risk management needs to have a clear process and a structure. It should also be regularly reviewed and updated to ensure it remains effective. These principles allows us to manage risk effectively and ensure that our organization continues to grow and become safer.
Process of risk management. First, establishing context. This initial stage involves defining the scope of the risk management process, identifying stakeholders, and establishing the basis for risk evaluation. So, it is also include planning the remaining step of the process and developing an agenda for risk identifications. So, ang establishing context is process of creating collaborations or shared understanding. So, there are methods of establishing context. First is identifications of risks in one particular domain. So kini siya is pinpointing like mga specific risks. So second is planning the reminders of process. So unsaon na to sila pag-assess, pag-treat, pag-monitor them over time. So next is mapping out the scope of the risk management. So kini siya is identify and objectives of the stakeholders at the basis upon which risk will be evaluated. So the boundaries or the specific areas or the activity. So next is defining a framework for the activity and an agenda for identification. So kini siya is like kanang mag-conduct mo brainstorming sessions or reviewing the data. Next is developing an analysis of risks involved in the process, like identifying the risks and understand the potential consequence of mga factors nila. Next is mitigations or solutions of risk using available the technological, human, and organizational resources. So kini siya is to involve using technological to improve safety trainings of the employees. So second is identification. So these steps involves identifying potential risks that could impact the organization's objectives. So this can be achieved through various methods including kini siya is to identify the potential risk for individuals, personals like their names, address, social securities, and uban pa. So there are various methods. So first is objective-based risk identification. So an organizations or any business activity has a certain objectives. Any activity that is deemed an obstacle in the achievements of the same perceived as risk. So kini siya is it's about understanding what you want. So second is scenario-based risk identification. Hence, various scenarios which may be alternative way to achieve an objectives are created. If an undesired scenario is created, a threat is perceived with the same. So kini siya is involving creating and analyzing to enhance our decision making. So next is taxonomy-based risk. So the possible risk sources are broke down. Hence taxonomy, a questionnaire is made based on existence knowledge the answers to the question of the risk. So kini siya is leading to a better communications, prioritizations, and decision making. So next is common risk check. So there are certain risks that are common to our industry. Each risk is listed and checked on time. So kini siya is like mga common or specific industry or type of project ka nang gina-establish nga industry. Example, nagtrabaho ka sa construction project or workers. So last is risk charting. So kini siyang risk listing all the resources as makahelp pud ni siya sa pag-organize sa mga projects. So number 3 is assessments. Once risks have been identified, there are assessed based on their likelihood or occurrence and their potential impact. These assessments can be relatively simple for tangible risk but more complex for intangible risk. So kini siya is like identifying and analyzing the risk to determine their significance and priority.
This is Mark Agbong, your newscaster reporter for today. And so here I am to give you about the latest news updates. So now I will discuss you about the 5 risk management process. The risk management process consists of several management critical phases that guide organization in handling potential risk effectively. Here's detailed explanation of each phase. Number 1, identify the risks. This initial uncovering of potential risks that could affect the objectives of project or organization. Analyze the risks. Once the risks are identified, the next step is to analyze them to understand their nature and potential impact. Number 3 is evaluate the risks. After analyzing the risks, The evaluation phase involves comparing level of risk against the organization risk appetite and tolerance. Number 4 is the treat the risks. In this phase, organizations develop and implement strategies to manage identified risks. Treatment options include risk avoidance, eliminating the risk reductions, implementing measures to reduce the impact livelihood, risk transfer, shifting the risk, and 5, monitor and review the risks. The final phase focuses on the ongoing process, monitoring risks and the effectiveness of the treatment strategies over time. This includes regularly reviewing existing risks, identifying new risks, and assessing performance of risk management actions. So all this structured approach to risk management allows organizations to proactively address potential challenges, ensuring that they can achieve their objectives while minimizing adverse impacts of the company or organization.
Oh, hello Manolo. Hello, and this is Jens. By the way, I'm Ben Harakinyo, so I'm here now to give you knowledge about risk management. So, risk management is a critical process for any organization, whether it's a large corporation or an individual. It involves identifying, assessing, and mitigating potential risks that could impact an organization's objectives. So, by effectively managing risk, organization can minimize potential losses, protect their assets, and achieve their goals more efficiently. So risk management has a key element. First is identification, characterization, and assessment of threats. So these elements can be done through various methods like brainstorming, analyzing historical data, or consulting experts. This includes classifying them, describing their methods, and analyzing their capabilities and motivations. So, assessments evaluates the likelihood and impact of each threat. This step helps prioritize threat and allocate resources effectively. By effectively identifying, characterizing, and assessing threats, organizations can help appropriate mitigation strategies to protect themselves from potential harm. So, second is assessment of the vulnerable of critical assets to specific threats. So, this element is a key step in risk management. It involves an understanding how likely a threat is to exploit the weaknesses in a critical asset and the potential consequences of such an attack. So, by identifying critical assets, determine which assets are most important to the organization's operations, reputation, or national security. It also evaluates the weaknesses or vulnerabilities of the critical asset that could be exploited by identified threats. These comprehensive assessments help organizations prioritize resources, allocate funds for mitigation strategies, and make informed decisions to protect their critical assets from specific threats. And third is determination of the risk, the expected likelihood and consequences of specific types of attacks on specific areas. So, this element, determining risk, involves assessing the likelihood and consequences of specific types of attacks on specific areas. By combining the likelihood and consequences, organization can quantify the risk associated with each attack scenario. This allows them to prioritize threats, allocate resources effectively, and develop mitigation strategies to protect their critical asset. The fourth is identification of ways to reduce those risks. So these elements is reducing risk involve implementing strategies to minimize the likelihood and impact of potential threats. By reducing this risk, we have a several methods to follow. So here's the method. First, Risk avoidance. So in risk avoidance, we have avoid high-risk activities, choose safer alternatives, implement preventative measures. Second is risk mitigation. So in risk mitigation is reduce the impact of the threat, implement contingency plans. Third is risk transfer. Under risk transfer are insurance and contract. Fourth is sharing. We should collaborate or partnering with other organizations to share resources and expertise can help reduce the overall risk for everyone's involved. The fifth element is prioritization of risk reduction measure based in a strategy. So, prioritizing risk reduction measures based in a strategy is essential for efficient and effective risk management. This involves aligning risk mitigations effort with the organization's overall goals, resources, and risk appetite. Here's a breakdown of how to prioritize risk reduction measurements strategically. First, define your strategy by identify strategic objective, establish risk appetite, develop a risk management framework. Second is prioritize risk based on strategy by align risk with objectives. Consider risk appetite. Use a risk matrix. The third is select risk reduction measured by cost-benefit analysis, resource availability, visibility, and effectiveness. Fourth, implement and monitor by develop action plans, regular monitoring and evaluation, communicate and engage. So, by following a strategic approach to risk reduction measures, prioritization, organizations can effectively manage risk, protect their assets and achieve their goals while staying within their risk appetite and resources constraints. That would be all for now, and thank you for listening about the elements of risk management. I hope you earned some knowledge today, especially to the business industry. Thank you.